Welcome to Drew's Reviews, and today's film will be discussing Thunderbolts. The Marvel Cinematic Universe brings its 36th entry into theaters, directed by Jake Schreier. The film brings together a team of anti-heroes and former villains under the orchestration of CIA Director Valentina. Trapped in a deadly situation, these disillusioned individuals must confront their dark past and learn to work together to survive. So when I heard about this movie, I wasn't too excited just because it seemed like they were just gonna mash together a whole bunch of C and D level characters from other movies that we all have probably watched, and I was just like, okay, I guess we'll see what they do with this. And I saw the first trailer they released, and that kind of upped my excitement a little bit, but then I saw this A24-ish trailer they put together.
There's something wrong.
Anyway, that's where my excitement kind of got bumped up a lot. It looked way more interesting. They showed a little bit more and it got me excited. I was looking forward to seeing this film. I'm going to go ahead and get the negatives right out of the way. There are mainly two issues I have with this film. Number one is the villain, very underdeveloped. She was very mustache twirly. A lot of her character moments was just very dumb. I love Julia as an actress, but just based off of how they wrote the character and how they directed the character, the motivations just didn't seem smart. Although she's supposed to be playing this very intellectual, smart individual, but her plans and motivations just weren't there for me. The second negative for me is getting more into the plot. Even though the movie is 2 hours and some change, it felt very rushed at one particular part. I wish they kind of fleshed it out, and I feel like if they did, it would make more sense to the story. I understand why they did what they did, but I just didn't like it, and how it came across off the screen just didn't feel as natural. And honestly, both of the negatives that I have about this film kind of intertwined within each other, and if you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's just the villain has this motivation, and then because of this motivation, they do something to another character, and then that character kind of goes outside of what I think would be a logical decision, and it kind of just undercuts the scene a little bit. To me, I'm just like, oh, okay, obviously they just wanted to do that so they could have this whole action scene. So those are pretty much the biggest problems I have with the film.
You sure about that?
Other than that, everything else about this film was great.
That's pretty good.
I'll start with the director, Jack Schreier. I believe I'm saying his name correctly. He did a great job with this film. Honestly, it was a big task taking these C and D level characters and putting them in the forefront, making them the main characters, fleshing them out. He did an amazing job, and obviously he shares that credit with the writers, but at the end of the day, he directed it, and with what he had to complete with this movie, I believe he did a really good job. Now, I will say this is some of the best acting I've seen in a Marvel movie in a really long time.
You serious?
Even with Julia, I didn't like how they did her character, but she still acted really well, and across the board, everybody I believe was just really good. I'm not gonna go into every single character, but Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, he was great. Wyatt Russell as John Walker, or Walmart Captain America as I call him, he was great. David Harbour as the Red Guardian was hilarious. He stole the show for me in so many scenes. Usually in movies like this, they need somebody to give the comedic relief, but he just did it so well. He was hilarious in this movie, but when he needed to be dramatic or serious, he could do that as well. Such an amazing actor. But Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, wow, just wow. She has a whole scene toward the third act of this film, and I love how the director chose to just leave the camera on her, and she really made you feel for her character and everything that she's going through in the movie. Amazing job. Lewis Pullman, who plays Robert Reynolds in the film, he was an amazing addition. He was really good, especially with what he had to play and the characters that he had to play, if you know what I mean. He did an incredible job. I really liked his performance, how he played the character. It was really well done. Also, I love seeing Wendell Pierce in anything. Love that guy. Even if it's in a small role as he is in this one, love seeing him. The music and score, it was okay. It wasn't nothing to write home about. Mediocre at best. I liked one of the parts of the score, but that's all I really have to say about that. The cinematography was done very well, I believe. I liked the cinematography a lot, and the shots they did in the film, really well done. Again, the director really did a good job. They had this one tracking shot toward the beginning of the movie, and right then and there I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely coming back to see this movie just so I could watch this one scene again. The action in this movie done very well. There were some parts you can obviously tell there was CGI and everything, but in my opinion, CGI, when it looks a little funky, especially when it comes to humans interacting with other humans, whether it's punching or kicking or whatever, it doesn't bother me as much. I know it's really hard to composite different things like that, and I can't imagine how long they work on all of these things, and I just feel like we're so saturated with good CGI that we just complain about little stuff like that. But to me, it didn't bother me. Some CGI, when it's obviously bad,
oh my god, what is that? Oh my god, what is that?
and just looks like they didn't care, that's when I usually have a problem. But for this movie, the CGI was done really well. I really liked the way they specifically did the void, the way they made the darkness and the shadow and all of that. It looked amazing. Honestly, that was perfect the way that they did that. The VFX on his body, it was really well done in that regard. The story overall, I believe they did a really good job. Again, it just felt rushed. Slow down, baby. But not so rushed to the point where it was distracting. It was just some little things I wish they fleshed out a little bit more. The script was pretty solid for the most part. I believe they recovered enough from that little hiccup of kind of rushing through things. And when I think about movies like this that are more popcorn movies, in that regard, the plot was done very well. The humor throughout the movie was pretty consistent. I really enjoyed this movie. You can tell this is where the director's strengths come through. It's through the drama, it's through the dramatic scenes, it's through those heartbreaking scenes. And I mean, this movie does really go there. A lot of these characters that they're showcasing have these really dark and depressing backstories, and you can tell the director wanted to flesh that out and let you really sit in it. This felt to me like we're back in formation for Marvel. I'm not saying we're completely back. Fantastic Four could still be a really bad movie. We don't know. We haven't seen it. The trailers to me look decent, but I'm not going to say that Marvel is just back to how they were before. I don't believe that, but I do think that this is a good starting off point, and you can tell that Kevin Feige is definitely back in the main seat, and he's definitely back in control and making sure that these movies are held up to some kind of standard. You can watch my review of Captain America Brave New World if you want the rundown of what's been going on in the background and interworkings of Marvel. I'm not going to go into it now, but they did a really solid job with this film. I enjoyed myself a lot. I think it's definitely worth the watch. I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. Even though the movie was really good to me, it was just those two little things that kind of knocked knock down the grade. I wish they would have done a lot better and fleshed that out a little bit more in the second act. But it's a good time at the theaters. Thank you for tuning in to my review of Thunderbolts. Please like, subscribe, and let me know down in the comments what's your favorite MCU movie. I would love to hear your thoughts. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.